Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Mastermind Creations Perfection Series PS-13 Impetus for their Assaultus combiner. Yes, their version of Vortex for Bruticus. And as you can see, he is a gray and blue helicopter, which will move off to the side here briefly because we are going to look at this box, which yes, very G1/Diaclone-esque box. You can see nice artwork of Impetus right there. The little OX line because Ocular Max and Perfection Series and you know, all that stuff, and nice red grid work. And hey, look up here, you got pictures of the figure, including all built-in thing, because that's their whole thing here. More of the artwork on the side, some more of the artwork on that side, and then hey, on the bottom you got warnings and ages 15 up, and hey, look, little outlines of the rest of the team plus Impetus there. And on the back you have, hey, look, he transforms an armed helicopter and robot, and he has a little bio here right there, Impetus interrogation. You know, you can all look at that, I think. That whole thing. And of course, one of his accessories is a little red thing, so you can look at his tech specs. Yeah. So that's the box. Also in there is, of course, the card, because everyone likes cards. And yeah, it's once again the bio and more tech spec stuff and pictures of it on the back. And of course the instructions, which some of the instructions, the order they tell you to do things and how they tell you to do things is kind of nonsense. And there's a couple of steps in particular that just aren't great. Anyway, helicopter. He is indeed a gray and blue helicopter. Like I said, he has the landing gear and everything. Nice. These are all transparent plastic, like right here attached to the helicopter. There have been reports of people having theirs are just simply missing their bits and pieces. I can understand because this one keeps falling off of mine until I glued it in place. But yeah, apparently a lot of this stuff just, you know, it's like these windows are just not there when they get them. It wouldn't surprise me if what happened is they fell out before they got in the box. Because yeah, they seem to fall out a lot unless you glue them in place real good. Yeah, it's gray, you know, a bit of blue up here, blue stripe up there, and yeah, and some black here, black rotors. A little blue down here for the robot mode, which yeah, you can kind of see some bits and pieces here. And yeah, a little bit of silver on the landing gear as well. Which, you know, it's really good rolling end gear. Rotors can spin, although this one, because of the way it does spin, eventually, you can see it's a little wobbly. Eventually shakes itself to a stop pretty quick. But not too terrible. This one barely spins, and all on top of that, it often scrapes against the little tail fin here. I'm not sure that we decided that, but that's how it is. So yeah, that's kind of a little oversight. There's nothing really here to like peg a flight stand to unless this can be one. But yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much what you get. He does do one more thing. He comes with his gun here, which there's a little spot right here. This little gray spot right here. If you get that and spin it around, there's a little peg hole, which you can peg this into. That's kind of loose. A lot of people's just spins freely. This one is actually, surprisingly, this one surprised me because it's actually somewhat solid. And I'll get into why I'm surprised by the fact this one's solid. I've prior experience with that where this was very loose and I didn't do anything this one. But this one's actually fairly solid and doesn't come out easily, doesn't spin very easily. It's actually a fairly solid connection. But yeah, you can do that if you want. Anyway, yeah. Pretty decent little helicopter mode, and of course the landing gear can just all fold up like that if you want. These don't really tuck in anywhere else. That's how they're sitting, is like that. But that's a pretty good helicopter mode, I feel. Looks really nice. I'm not sure. I know it's based on a real one with some liberties taken just for the sake of the robot and combined modes, I guess. But yeah, I like it quite a bit. Looks good like this. But I'll go ahead and transform it to the arm mode real quick, and then we'll take a look at that. And there you go. There you go with the arm mode here, mostly. I mean, here's some, yeah, I'm just going to do these real quick. You can put these guns on either way. I think I've seen pictures with them pointing this way, and I've seen pictures pointing them that way. But anyway, this is the arm mode. See that? Yeah, it's an arm. Yeah, it's going to be, of course, left arm of their Bruticus there. You can, yes, you can see this is where it's going to connect, right here. Yeah, you can, yeah, he has a bit of movement here. That's a good elbow right there. Nice ratchety elbow. He's got a ball jointed thumb, which also is on the hinge right here. There's also this dual hinge right here. If you want, you got each finger is on the hinge of the base. Another hinge here and another hinge right there. Each finger is like that. No outward, but they're all nicely, the nice thing is they're all different lengths, so it's more like a real hand. So that's nice in of itself right there. Yep, you can do a lot of, but you can still do these poses there. Make a good fist. Nice thumbs up there. However you want. The thumb is a little weird, and you have to get a little used to it, but yeah. And also there's a wrist swivel right here. It's a little limited because of the way it transforms. It's actually still pretty clever because the whole, it splits and everything and still integrated. But yeah, the way, the hands is integrated in there. So there is a bit of limitation. That's as far out as you can get the wrist to swivel, but you can get it to, from there to there just because of how it transforms. It's still, the clever engineering in there is really clever. It's this weird rail system and everything. It's sliding, the way it's sliding, but it does work. Yeah, I do generally think this is a decent art mode. Of course, there's a lot of that, which is, yeah, you got this, I guess, hole up there, but I don't know. You can, if you want, you really don't want that hole, you can just leave this, untransformed, or leave it back in the way it is for helicopter mode. But the instructions, you're supposed to do it like this, so that's the way I'm doing it right here. There you go. Because otherwise his shoulders get ridiculously big. Yeah, I guess you got that if you want inward movement, but you're really not supposed to do it that way. And that also kind of undoes this a little bit, which there's that little, that one plastic piece in here is designed there, so that's to keep this from collapsing back into there. Anyway, yeah, good arm mode, I feel. And also very large arm. You get an idea of how big this guy's going to be, especially with else you get, say a Fraudo, and you kind of already have an idea how big the shins are going to be. So yeah, that's your arm mode. And now I'm going to go ahead and take him all the way to robot mode. So I'm going to do that real quick. And there we go. Except for, of course, the rotors, which, yeah. And his little arm cannons, because that's part of that's part of it, man. He's supposed to have his little arm cannons. His itty bitty little arm cannons, which were translated from his giant chain guns from the toy. Yeah, there you go. It's Impetus. That's Impetus. Yeah, I don't know. In his robot mode, and yeah, it looks really nice. It has a lot, has a lot in common with the the cartoon model a little bit. Some liberty taken mostly because of the helicopter shape like this. Kind of this tapers up instead of down, because again, I think it's a little complicated to make it. So I mean, you could engineer. There's a whole other piece here that comes out, but yeah, it's just a lot of extra engineering, which would drive the cost up. probably not worth it for a minor change like that. But anyway, it looks really good like this. Again, a lot more blue shows up, you know, the blue here on the crotch and the blue legs and whatnot. And yeah, there is a thing of like some people complain about, which, yeah, you can see the fist just kind of hanging out right there, but I don't find it too bad. I think the trade-off is worth it considering what it is. I mean, there are no extra parts, no hands you have to figure out what to do with in his robot mode, no thigh pieces for the giant mode or anything. None of that. It's all built in. I like that a lot. Then the rotors, of course, you can have like this, or you can have like this, or whatever. The transformation, I talked about this a little bit in the transformation video, but yeah, this part right here, the backpack, is a little tricky. You have to move stuff in a kind of uncomfortable way, you know, kind of moving pieces around and kind of making plastic flex a bit and breaking this down. The instructions are really bad about this in the sense that they tell you to do it a very, like, one at a time and whatnot. It's like really, really bad idea to do. It makes it a lot more difficult. And also definitely utilize the ab crunch to help you with the transformation there. Yeah, they tell you to do one at a time, and that's not a good idea, I feel. Yeah, and as to why it took me, like, what is it? It's been 2 months, I think, since this guy came out. He came out in August. Oh, no, it's 3 months now. Yeah. Why did it take me 3 months to review this guy? Well, simple. That's why. The first one broke. First transformation sheared right off. There's a right here. You can see that bit of white right there because, yeah, the peg right here, you can see that it just sheared off on me. First transformation, because you're supposed to rotate it out on that hinge, and when I rotated, it just came off. I don't know, that was just a random, I guess got a random lemon. There's no, as far as I can tell, there's no widespread issue, just got a random bad figure, and it happens. I was waiting on the replacement parts, but for whatever reason, MMC just refused to send them, even though they said they would, and they just never got around to it or something, so despite repeated requests from Chosen Prime, so I just got a second one. It sucks, but maybe I'll be able to, I tried to fix this, but just not enough surface area to really get a nice good grip for the glue or anything. It's just the way it's broken. Yeah, that's just it technically still works. It's just you got a wobbly arm. It still works as a display piece. It just, yeah, as a toy, I don't think it works very well. But yeah, this is a really, really nice figure, I feel. Again, gun has the flip out handle right there, little tab in the back. You can open his fingers, and there's a little slot there which it kind of tabs in the back. It's this one, the plastic grip is really nice. And yeah, you can hold it pretty well. And that's also the reason why I was talking about this gun. The peg, for a lot of people, it's loose. That peg in the nose of the helicopter, it's very loose. And it was very loose on that one. It would fall out at it would spin around and fall out. There was no grip whatsoever on it. But this guy, I don't know if there's like, this is like a second assortment, like a second way or second shipment that just got some minor adjustments. Because also notice on mine, this one, ball jointed head, that was the first time, you probably saw in the footage, the first time that the ball joints ever popped off of me. I've transformed this guy multiple times, and that was the first time the ball joint popped off of me. Whereas the other one, every single time they would pop off the joint, and I heard that's a very widespread issue. So yeah, there might be some minor improvements from the the first batch to the second batch. I'm not sure. Yeah, articulation, his end, ball jointed head. This runs really tight compared to the other one, which is really loose. So it's ball jointed heads. You got, waggle left and right, up and down. You even got the little platform, his nil net platform, so you can even further down. You can look way down if you want. So you got that. Shoulders can rotate forward and back all the way. Rotors kind of get in the way, but they spin, so it's not a huge deal. Outward right there, and that's pretty much it for the shoulders. You got a bicep swivel right here, right below the shoulder. Elbow joint, which has dual hinges, but you get about that much curl. Not a full curl, but a good enough one, I think. I feel to be satisfied with that. His wrists can swivel, although it's a very tight swivel, but they can swivel. You can see though the fingers can open and close. They're individually articulated. You can see that they are individual fingers, so they can open and close on their own. And the thumb is on a ball joint. This one's on a very tight ball joint, but it is on the ball joint. He has an ab crunch, as you saw. It's, I use that for the transformation. Very helpful. If you have an ab crunch, and because of this little gray plate, you got a large chunk of it, which is, covered up a little bit. But, it's nice that he has one. Apparently, the blast off will have one too. You got the hips, which you can, all these skirts get out of the way, so you can go forward. Nice little ratchet there. Back, right there. Outward, pretty far. Although, when you bring it back, and kind of tendency to collapse such a way too close, so watch out for that. He does have a thigh swivel here. knee bend, about 90 degrees. There's more jointage there, but it's really not worth trying to use the way it's designed. It's really not supposed to, you're not really supposed to use all the joints. And quite frankly, and to be quite frank about it, you don't get much out of it anyway. And down here, you got a tiny bit of angle tilt. It's kind of hindered by just the design of everything, but you got a tiny bit. I mean, if you move that flap out of the way, you get a little bit more. Just actually, not even that. You have to do so much untransforming to get it more, significantly more out of it that it's just not worth it. Yeah, so you got those angle tilts, and I guess you got toe, if you want. These little tiny toes. There you go. That's articulation. Really good articulation, actually. The fact he has an ab crunch. Unfortunately, not every team member, as I discovered, does not have an ab crunch, but some of that is due to design things. We'll get to that in his review. But yeah, Impetus here. Impetus, whatever you want to call him. I think he is a fantastic little figure. If you can get him all tabbed in properly. Yeah, I think he's not a little figure, but he's a fantastic figure overall. Yeah, I really do like him a lot. He is fantastic. Yeah, his posability is pretty high, so you can get him good poses. Although some of his stuff is just a little bit. Some of like his legs are a little wonky sometimes, particularly with the ankles and stuff. You don't get a whole lot of movement there, but there's some. So his posability is pretty good. He's got some, I just like the engineering on this because it's like, you get the whole all-in-one, everything's stored away. There's no like, gotta just, ram the fist on the back or something or try to turn into a gun or anything. No, it just stores away in his legs. I like that. I like that what they're doing with it. I like this whole idea of all-in-one. This is what brought me to this one over like, say, Zeta or Unique Toys on their Bruticai, whatever. This is my first foray into a Masterpiece style combiner as well. But just real quick comparison. Here he is with a Masterpiece car, Blue Streak. You can see right there. You can see he's quite a bit taller than those guys. And just for the sake of it, he is with Megatron, Masterpiece Megatron, just to again give you an idea of height. So yeah, it's a good size. Apparently, Onslaught's gonna be like up here, something like that, like way up here, something comparatively. So. Yeah, quite the height difference. And that's just to give you an idea. He's Masterpiece scale for sure, and I think he's very much a Masterpiece figure. And I would quite recommend him. He is $100. So far, it seems like the limbs are going to be hovering around $100, although Blastoff is $105. And there's of course the upgrade set and all that stuff. I'll get into that when those come out. As they come out, but yeah, I would recommend picking this guy. Even as a standalone figure, he's pretty great, and I would recommend picking him up. And if you're looking for a Bruticus, I think this is a good one. Although yes, scale is going to be a big issue for a lot of people, but I think it's a good choice, and I would quite recommend getting him. This one, it's going to come to probably like it's just around $600 total, but yeah, I think it's worth it personally. But what do I know? I'm just a reviewer on YouTube. What do I know about anything? But anyway, I hope you found this. I hope you liked this review. I hope you found it informative or entertaining. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out Patreon and coffee, all those things. And I hope you join me next time with another video review, which should be Fraudo shortly, if I can get it done quick. So see ya.